Hey, how y'all doing? Good afternoon. Well, it's afternoon for me. I ran away to my she space and I'm chilling in here. I woke up this morning and I was like feeling kind of just like, you know, and I couldn't really understand where the feelings were, what was driving them. I couldn't really name them. But then I talked to my cousin and we had a conversation, and I started to realize that I'm going through, I guess, maybe the emotional letdown. The holidays have passed us. We are over that hurdle. And I started to communicate that to my cousin. And I made a post on Christmas Day, talking about just this time of year and how it can be really difficult for people and really emotionally overwhelming in terms of, if you don't have loved ones. There's a lot of emphasis around family time and togetherness. And then if you don't have the financial resources to buy presents and things, because there's such commercialization regarding the Christmas holiday and some of the other holidays that fall within this season. And it can be overwhelming, and I experienced that this year. I don't know that I can say I've experienced it in other years, or maybe I was unable to identify it. But because I've been, really intentionally slowing down and just working on myself, I'm more aware, I think, and more sensitive to what I'm going through and able to articulate it so that I can, speak about it and try to process it. And so that's what I'm feeling today. And I told her I have a knot that's right here in my shoulder. And I was like, thinking, where is this from? And I normally get these when I've been stressed. And so I have it. And now it all, makes sense that I'm just now breathing, so to speak, and just emotionally like a sigh of relief, like I survived, I got through it. And that's kind of not a great feeling, because this time of year comes every year. So, how do we work on not feeling like that? I don't know. I suppose maybe, is to, I don't know, maybe get to what is causing you to have those feelings during this time of season. Try to identify what the cause is. I don't know that I can speak to what the cause is for me right now. I think maybe the financial aspect, if I'm just going off the top of my head and feeling like I'm not as independent as I would like to be, that could be part of it. But I don't really want to, I don't know. But I just know that what I'm experiencing today is the letdown and just the sigh of relief that it is over. I mean, the kids have been home. If I'm going to be honest, I've been enjoying being an empty nester. And so my son has been home, and that's been different. My husband's sons were with us for a week around Christmas. That's different. And, most recently for the last 4 weeks, Mr. has been going into the office every day. And so I was talking to my therapist and I was like, I feel like, something might be wrong because I really just want I like my alone time. I like when he goes into the office. And she was like, no, there's nothing wrong with that. Most women feel like that. But it's like, we don't really talk about it. I mean, I think there's some type of guilt maybe that we have with saying, I like my alone time. I like my space. I like my privacy. This room is considered my she space. And I just came in here because I was sitting in the garage and the dogs were inside the house, but it's cold in the garage, but it's like, sometimes you just really want to just run away and get away from everybody. A long drive was good for me. Right now, it's just, I think, yeah, this time in particular is just exacerbating all of the feelings that I, have been like working through in terms of self prioritization and just boundaries. And, I'm a work in progress. I talked to my cousin, had a great call, and was able to identify what I'm experiencing right now. So I'm not really worried that the feeling is gonna stay. But I'm sure, well, not I'm sure, since I've been working and allowing and giving myself permission to feel the feelings. And I think the reason I've been giving myself permission is because I am able to identify like what it is that I'm feeling. And so because I have been able to identify what this feeling is, I may not always know the origin of the feeling, but what I am noticing is that I can identify what the feeling is, and then I'm able to move through it because I recognize it, and it's like, okay, it logically, explains maybe why I feel, what I'm feeling. And so I think as I continue to work through this, I'll need to do better with communicating to those around me, like what I'm feeling. It's a process. So just going to give myself grace. So I just wanted to get on here because I wanted to share that with you, because I know that I'm not the only one feeling like this. When I conveyed the feelings to my cousin, she said, I get that. I feel like that. And so, I want you to know that if you feel like that, it is okay. It is normal. You may not know where the feeling is coming from. You might not know the origin, but you recognize that you're feeling like this. I don't know, you feel blah today, or part of it starts with spending more time, with yourself and becoming more self-aware and slowing down and kind of eliminating some of the other distractions. And that's something that I have been, working on for the last few years, and it's a process, and I'm not perfect, but I'm getting better at it and better at communicating and saying, how I'm feeling, and if I need to withdraw. So I just want to encourage you that this too shall pass, and to allow yourself to feel those feelings, but try to move through them. Sometimes you may not be able to, at a point that you're ready to move, and that's okay too. You might just need the day to just cry and be in the bed and not do anything and just totally, tap out. Or you may feel like I'm currently feeling, and that's like, okay, I just recognize that, something isn't right. I'm kind of blah, and then when you do realize, you're like, okay, I can get through this because this feeling it's going to pass. And what am learning is that the sooner that I'm able to acknowledge the feeling, the easier it becomes to move through it. I think it's difficult when you don't acknowledge it or don't recognize it, because it may be a new feeling. All of our feelings aren't black and white, and sometimes there's overlap, and this may be something totally new. And like myself, I'm questioning, why do I feel like this? And I shouldn't, because these are my feelings and they're valid, and every person's experience is going to be unique. And so I just want to empower you to know that your feelings are valid, to give yourself permission to feel them, and whatever, way that you're able to manage them, try to manage them in that way. Is, hopefully it's positive and not like a, I don't know, a harmful way, but your feelings are valid. And so yeah, basically just give yourself permission to feel them. Allow yourself time to decompress and breathe. For me, I needed to come. I need to sit in here. I need to be by myself. That's why I put the curtain on the door, because it's a glass door and I don't want the dogs, my husband, like I don't want anybody looking at me. I just want to be, it's like the invisible cloak. And for a lot of this year, I haven't been in here. And I was sitting here and I just looked at the bulletin board, as I had created this bulletin board last year with, what I wanted to accomplish. You'll see 1/7/2025, 1/1. And that's like the last time that I put anything on that bulletin board. And this was supposed to be like my prayer board. And so it's actually kind of cool that I'm in here right now, because I told y'all that I want to be more intentional and consistent, with how I live my life in all areas. So yeah, I'm working today, so I got to get ready to go to work. But I just thought I want to share this because, yeah, I woke up and just couldn't, understand why I was feeling like I was. And now that I've talked through it, the feelings are still there, but I do feel like, okay, and eventually it'll be the work to get to what's causing them, why I feel that anxiety, or, the overwhelming feelings, the stress, but one step at a time. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are having a good day. And if you aren't, tomorrow's a new day. So I'll talk to you soon.